Oklahoma found a male counselor guilty of insurance fraud in 2018. He was filing claims through Medicaid uh, for sessions that he wasn't actually doing. He would bill for clients when he was actually doing other things. He was found guilty and was charged and had to spend a year in federal prison. He was also required to pay around $141,000 in restitution and was also fined $10,000 that he had to pay. After the trial, he admitted, or during the trial, he admitted to billing these clients, who are mostly children, um, billing these times when he was actually doing other things, spending time with his family, going to basketball games of his children, of his grandchildren, different things that he admitted to. Um, all of these things took place over a 4-year period of time from 2013 to 2017, so it wasn't like he did it all at one time. The courts, the state watched him for a long period of time, so they built a case up, for him. It wasn't like they just came in all at once. So when they did charge him, they had plenty of evidence against him. So when they did go after him to find him guilty, they had plenty against him. He did not try to fight the case. He knew that what he had done was wrong, and he knew that he was in trouble. I think that these types of things are wrong because, you know, when you do these things, it hurts the rest of us as counselors, because it makes the rest of us look bad. It affects the rest of us, because in Oklahoma we can only bill 35 hours a week legally. And I think that when people do what they do like that, it hurts us, and it gets our hours cut, and it affects us in bad ways because of people who abuse the law and, abuse the insurance companies and Medicaid and things like that. I think it gives us a bad name, and I think that's why those things happen, because once upon a time, counselors could bill as much as they wanted to, which I don't think that we should be able to do that either, because I think that is in itself abusing clients and abusing, abusing the system also. But I think that him doing things like that, or, however many counselors are doing that, I think that is abusing the system also. I think it's also abusing the client's trust, because they're trusting you, and they're trusting, they're coming to you for problems. So, they're trusting you and using you for advice, and they probably have trust issues in the first place. So you're abusing them. You're abusing their trust. So, um, on the topic of self-care, I think that it's very important for a counselor to take care of their self, because if they don't, then how are you supposed to help your client get better if you're not taking care of yourself? Um, I think that as a person has two jobs, I think it's easy to let yourself go. I teach, so I teach from 8 to 3:30. Right now I don't have the second job, but when I do, I go straight from school to counseling. So then I go and counsel from anywhere from 4 to 8, 8:30. So, it's really hard to kind of neglect myself. So it's very important to take the time that you need to take care of yourself. If not, it's really easy to get burned out. I think it's really easy to get caught up into your clients' problems also. And when you take that home with you, especially as a beginning counselor, you can take your clients' problems home with you. Um, and being a teacher also, it's kind of hard to take those kids' problems home with you. So then if you let those things build up and build up and build up on you, you kind of forget, about your problems. And sometimes when you forget about your problems, that's when your self-care kind of goes to the back burner. So I think it's a good idea, sometimes as a counselor to seek out counseling of your own. I mean, I don't ever think that that's a bad idea. If you don't want to find a counselor of your own, you can always talk to a friend or even a colleague, a family member, your pastor. I mean, I do that often. I seek out the advice of my pastor or his wife. I talk to his wife quite often also. I mean, I always think that that's a good idea. I mean, I don't know, everyone doesn't go to church, I know, but I mean, I always think that's a good idea for me. It helps often. But I have often talked to colleagues also. I just think mental health is a very serious thing, and I think it's a very good idea to keep that on the front burner. Back to the insurance fraud. I mean, I think that's a very unethical thing to do also, especially when you're exploiting your clients. And that's what he was basically doing. He was exploiting them and their trust, and that's very, very unethical. The ACA Code of Ethics states that you should keep accurate records. We have to write notes on every client that we see. And so when you're writing notes on clients that you're not seeing, that's not keeping accurate records. He was falsifying his records, falsifying his documents. He was writing notes on clients that he wasn't seeing. So, that's unethical. And he was breaking the law when he was doing that. So, in the case of this particular counselor and any counselor who is doing this, he's forging his records. So, that's how they busted him. That's how he got in trouble. That's why he's going to federal prison. And there's no telling how much money he made off of that, and he had to pay it back and going to prison. That would be the big thing right there. I mean, I wouldn't want to go to prison. I don't think that there's anything worth doing that. I mean, I think the biggest thing for me would be breaking my client's trust. Again, they're there for a reason, and I would never want to break that trust with them. I don't know, for me, I'm there to help the client. I mean, that's why I'm there. That's one of the biggest reasons I became a counselor. I've been through a lot in my life, as well as I'm sure all of you have been through something. That's why I wanted to become a counselor, was so I could help other people, through what they've been through. So that's my big thing. I would never want to break their trust. I guess my question is, if this particular counselor has done, the insurance fraud, and if he did it, my question is, how many other counselors are there out there doing that? I mean, is it that common of a thing, to charge Medicaid that many hundreds of thousands of dollars and get away with it? So I guess I would like to know, how common is it? I mean, and what makes a counselor, what's going through their head to think that that's okay to do that to a client? That's my question.